Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James have all dominated their own eras, and because of this, all three of them are in the GOAT conversation. Now, one of the biggest factors in the GOAT debate is how many rings each player has. So as we put them in the same draft class, we will be keeping track of how many rings each superstar wins over this 16-season span. We will be starting at the 2004 draft and going all the way to the end of the 2020 NBA season. A lot of you guys that are watching the videos are not subscribed to the channel, which I get it. I be watching videos too and forget to subscribe, but we're trying to hit 5K by the end of the year, so hit that sub button. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to do it right now. I'm just gonna put a picture up of Josh Giddey for 5 seconds. So if you sit here and look at Josh Giddey instead of subscribing for 5 seconds, you're weird. With the first pick in the draft, the Portland Trail Blazers selected Michael Jordan. And with the second pick in the draft, the New York Knicks took LeBron James. And with the third pick in the draft, Kobe Bryant went to Toronto Raptors. With these young stars getting drafted into the league's future was in great hands, especially with the previous draft class of Melo, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh, who was now teamed up with Kobe Bryant. And not to mention the superstars that were entering the league all within the next 5 years, like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, Steph Curry, James Harden, and more. And let's start in Portland, where Jordan seemed to be adjusting to the NBA the best early, as they were on a 4-game winning streak to start the season, with Jordan averaging 22.4 points per game. And they were headed to New York to take on LeBron James and the Knicks, which would be the first of many legendary matchups between Jordan and LeBron. And the first matchup didn't disappoint at all. LeBron and the Knicks barely defended their home court, winning a close game 109-105, with LeBron going for an early career high 26 points, making a statement for Rookie of the Year. And it wasn't just that game that did it, but LeBron was able to take home the Rookie of the Year, putting him one up on everyone in the accolades category. All three of these rookies had great years and were all in the race for Rookie of the Year, but only one was able to get their team to the playoffs, and that was Michael Jordan, who helped the Blazers to a 46-36 record. The Blazers would match up in the first round against Carmelo and the Nuggets, and Carmelo was in his second year with more experience in the NBA than Jordan. And it showed, as the Blazers were only able to take one game in Portland, dropping the other 4 games sent home in 5 games. Next season would be what you would expect, each rookie getting better and better, preparing and waiting their turn to become the premier players in the league. With Kobe starting to develop and Chris Bosh in his 3rd year, the Raptors were able to make a playoff appearance. And Kobe wasn't just a little part of the team, as he put up 22.7 points per game this season. In New York, last year's Rookie of the Year, LeBron James was having a good season as well, putting up 26.4 points per game, but the Knicks were absolutely awful.
We as Knicks fans deserve better than this.
And they would miss the playoffs for the 2nd straight year in a row. And it's seeming like Jordan is going to find a way to win no matter what, as he led this not so talented Portland roster to the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row. The Raptors would match up against the Pacers in the first round, where the Raptors would take the first game in Indiana, but the Pacers and Jermaine O'Neal would take game 2. But Kobe and the Raptors would take full advantage of home court in Toronto, as they would be up 3-1 going back to Indiana, and the Pacers weren't able to recover, as Kobe and the Raptors would be moving on to the 2nd round. Meanwhile, in Portland, they would be taking on KG and the Wolves, and while Jordan was able to take these guys to the playoffs, he wasn't able to win them a playoff series, getting sent home 4-1 in the first round. And Kobe would be the first of these 3 players to make a 2nd round appearance in the playoffs. And while the Raptors were a good young team, they were no match for this Pistons defense and physicality, as the Pistons were the 1 seed in the East, and they were going on a mission to win a ring this year. Which brought us to season 3, and these 3 players were starting to make national names for themselves, becoming the new faces of the league. But Kobe seemed to be gaining the most popularity from fans after his Rucker Park appearance this summer, where he dropped 63 points. LeBron's team in New York was still not the best, but LeBron was improving a lot and able to lead the team to a 6th seed in the playoffs. Jordan's team around him would be getting better, but still not great though, but as you could guess, Jordan would still lead them to the playoffs again. But both LeBron and Jordan will be having some help to form some crazy duos in the next couple seasons, so they kind of just have to wait it out. Kobe, however, already found his duo, and the Raptors were killing it, earning the 3 seed in the East. And in the first round of the playoffs, we would get our first matchup between LeBron and Kobe, and it would not disappoint. The series would come down to Game 6 in Madison Square Garden, where Kobe would go for his first 40-point playoff game to close out the series and advance the Raptors into the 2nd round. Moving to the Western Conference, Jordan would have an unlucky matchup once again against the Nuggets, who have added Iverson since the last time Jordan saw them. But Jordan would put up a fight, putting up 28.9 points per game through the series, but the Nuggets were too much, taking the Blazers down once again. Next round, the Raptors would play the Pistons, who knocked them out last year, and if you know anything about Kobe, you know he took that loss personal. And Kobe would come out on fire with a 33-point game 1 and a 37-point game 2, going up 2-0 in the series and going back to Toronto. And with it going back to Toronto, the Raptors would win the next 2 on their home court, sweeping and shocking the Detroit Pistons. With Kobe making his first Eastern Conference final, he was 1 series away from going to his first finals. but Gilbert Arenas and the Wizards stopped that from happening, sending Kobe and the Raptors home. The 2007-2008 season, Kevin Durant would be coming to the league as a rookie this year, which would create another obstacle for Jordan in the West to overcome in a couple seasons. But for now, Jordan would have a great season this year, putting up 32.3 points per game, which would be enough for him to take home the MVP award. And that would bring us into the playoffs, where we would start in the Eastern Conference, where LeBron and the Knicks would be taking on the Heat. And LeBron would have a great series, winning the series 4-2. Moving to the West, where Jordan would be taking on the Hornets, where they would find themselves down 2-1 in the series, but Jordan and the Blazers would find some momentum and take the next 3 games, moving on to the second round of the playoffs. And Kobe's first round series went well as well, sweeping the Bulls 4-0. LeBron would match up versus the Celtics in the next round, and while LeBron was hooping, this Celtics team was just way too good, and they sent LeBron home. And this Celtics team also sent Kobe Bryant home in the Eastern Conference Finals. And going to the Western Conference now, in the second round, Jordan would take on the Spurs, and while Jordan was the MVP of the league, the Spurs had a complete team and were able to beat the Blazers in only 5 games. And over next offseason, there was reports of frustration going on in Toronto between Kobe and Chris Bosh, and that would end up to Kobe leaving and joining the Chicago Bulls, who just drafted rookie point guard Derrick Rose. And Kobe did leave this season, but Jordan and LeBron were still on their original teams, and all 3 players made the playoffs. In the playoffs, Kobe and the Bulls would fly through their first 2 rounds, matching up against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, who again sent LeBron home earlier in the playoffs. And the Celtics were definitely the favorite in this series with the roster that they had, but Kobe didn't back down from the challenge of this roster, and D Rose did not either. D Rose would actually shock the NBA in Game 3. With the series tied 1-1, he would go for 44 points, which would be the most points in a playoff game by a rookie since Kareem in 1970. Boston would come back next game though and smack the Bulls 123-94, tying up the series. And eventually this series would go all the way to a Game 7, where the game was in the Bulls' hands with only 9 seconds remaining. D Rose with the ball, looks like he's gonna take the shot instead of Kobe. I don't know what he's doing. 107-106, pulling up from deep, and he's gonna miss. That was a terrible possession. They had 10 seconds left, and D Rose pulls a super deep contested 3 instead of giving the ball to Kobe. And moving over to Jordan, he would fall short once again, 1 series short of making his first finals appearance, as the Spurs would send him home once again. Over the next summer, Twitter was exploding, as it was rumored LeBron would be making his first appearance at Rucker Park, and it turned out to be that the rumors were true, and fans wanted Mike to come out too, but he was way too busy gambling this offseason at the casino. But LeBron did not disappoint in Rucker Park, having some crazy dunks and really deep threes, which had the park going absolutely crazy. Moving into the actual NBA season, Kobe would absolutely kill this season, putting up 33.2 points per game, winning his first MVP, and him and D Rose were becoming must-see TV, as this duo was absolutely ridiculous. Jordan was hooping as usual, and his team was actually getting decent, with guys like Brandon Roy helping out on the scoring side of things. And with that help, the Blazers were actually able to make the playoffs as the #1 seed in the West. And while things were going good for the other 2 players, LeBron was getting very frustrated in New York, missing the playoffs this year. This Bulls team was really good though, as they would fly through the East, reaching Kobe Bryant's first finals. And Jordan wouldn't fly through the West, as they would have a dogfight with the Spurs, but they were actually able to come out on top this time and reach the finals, giving us a finals matchup that we have all been waiting for, Kobe versus Jordan. And Kobe would strike first in the finals, taking the first 2 games in Chicago. But Jordan wasn't going out that easy, putting up 47 and 41 in the next 2 games, tying the series up, heading back to Game 5 in Chicago. And eventually the series would go to a Game 7 in Chicago, where it was a close game with 30 seconds remaining. Alright, 25 seconds left. Kobe with the ball going in for the layup. Alright, it's a 2-point lead for the Bulls with 23 seconds left, and they're going to find Brandon Roy wide open under the basket. Alright, 8 seconds left. The Bulls are holding for the last shot. 115. Why Kobe Bryant is not taking the shot, I don't know. D Rose just pulled up for a fadeaway 3. What is he doing? And that's gonna brick. We are going to overtime. Alright, 1-point game. The Bulls are up. The Blazers with the ball. Jordan pulling up from the mid-range jump shot. He's gonna knock it down. But did they score too quick? 4 seconds for the Bulls. I don't know why Derrick Rose is their clutch shot taker, but he is. Can he knock it down? He knocks it down. And the Bulls are going to win a ring. And with that finals win, Kobe would be the first to a ring and also the first to a finals MVP. And next season, the Knicks heard LeBron complaining, and they grabbed Carmelo Anthony, who made an immediate impact this season, giving LeBron major help scoring the ball. They also got Amari Stoudemire on the team as well, forming a little big 3 for LeBron to go on a championship run this season, which would bring us to the playoffs, where in the East, the Bulls and the Knicks both threw the playoffs to meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it wouldn't be an easy road for Jordan as well, facing Kevin Durant and the Thunder, who were a young upcoming team in the West. But Jordan was able to overcome the Thunder in 6 games games and would win the Western Conference Finals, making another finals appearance this season. And the Kobe Bryant matchup over in the East would go 7 games, and in Game 7, LeBron and the Knicks would go off, embarrassing Chicago in Game 7, winning by 23 points. In the finals, Jordan and the Blazers would jump on the Knicks early, going up in the series 3-1. And New York was a really good team, so nobody was counting them out, but Jordan came out hooping in Game 5 with a 36-point game to win his first ring and first finals MVP, putting Jordan right up there with Kobe in career accomplishments. Kobe won another MVP award though in the 2011-2012 season, which would bring us right to the playoffs, where Jordan would get sent home early in a second round matchup versus KD and the Thunder. And Kobe and the Bulls this time would win the battle versus LeBron and New York, and they would do it in 6 games. Finals would be a great matchup between a bunch of young stars, but it looked like the Thunder might not have just been ready for the finals yet, as Kobe and the Bulls ended up winning the finals in only 5 games. And that would get Kobe to 2 finals and 2 MVPs now in his young career. Dame Lillard would be joining the Blazers this season, and he'd be developing quick under Jordan's wing. Dame had a great rookie season, almost cracking 20 points a game, averaging 18.7 points per game. But LeBron was the talk of the league this season, where he was able to average a 31-point triple-double over the regular season, which will obviously win him the MVP award. And in the East, you could probably guess that the Bulls and Knicks matched up again, as these two teams were dominating the East. And the winner of this series would go on to play the Blazers in the NBA Finals. And the Bulls would find themselves in a hole down 3-1 in this series, but Game 5 would be in Chicago, and that was good news for the Bulls because they have been really good at home this season. And this trend would continue with D Rose and Kobe combining for 87 of the team's points, which would be enough for them to take Game 5, forcing Game 6 in New York. And LeBron knew he would have to win Game 6 in New York if he wanted to win the series, because they did not want to go back to Chicago. But the Bulls did not care about what LeBron knew and thought, because they came out and beat the Knicks 113-97, forcing a Game 7 in Chicago. And Game 7 in Chicago was a great game. Carmelo started off the game on fire, hitting his first 7 shots, 4 of them being 3-pointers. And the Bulls found themselves down 15 points going into halftime. But that didn't discourage Kobe, as he had a 22-point third quarter, making up for his slow start. And the rest of the game was back and forth, bringing us to the final minute with the Knicks up 3 points. Melo with the ball in the post, trying to go for 50, and he's going to shoot it off the side of the backboard. I don't know what he was doing. But the Bulls got a shot to take a lead right here, bro. Whenever we're simming, it seems like Kobe's never taking the big shot, but Kobe's going to take the big shot right now, and he's going to knock it down. The Bulls are trying to get back to the finals. The Knicks are trying to get back to the finals, so we're going to see what LeBron does here. We see Jimmy Butler on the bench right now, too. Like, this Bulls team is already crazy with D Rose and Kobe and like the extra pieces. Imagine when Jimmy starts getting good, this team's gonna be crazy. But let's not worry about that right now. Melo with the ball with 10 seconds left. There's no way we're holding for last in Game 7. Let Melo ISO Boozer. Melo just pump fake. I don't know what he's doing, pulling up, and he's gonna miss. I don't know what that was. That was a terrible possession. With 2 of the clutchest players of all time on the same team, if this final series came down to a buzzer beater, but thankfully for Kobe and the Bulls, the series did not come down to a buzzer beater, as Kobe and the Bulls only needed 5 games to win the series. As the duo between Jordan and Dame were good, Dame was only a rookie, but the Blazers with Dame and Jordan would be a problem soon to come. Over the offseason, LeBron was tired of losing in New York and needed a change. He joined the Pacers on a 3-year deal to play with young and on the come-up star Paul George, and he would hope that would be enough to take down Kobe Bryant and the Bulls. And the Bulls are going to be going to the finals once again, knocking out LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals. Only in 5 games, the Pacers and Paul George was not enough for LeBron to be able to come Kobe Bryant, Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, and the Bulls. I mean, this Bulls team is just absolutely stacked. I don't really see anyone beating them. And in the finals, Kobe and Mike would meet once again, this time with the more experienced Dame Lillard, and the Blazers would give the Bulls a much better series, as Dame and Mike were averaging over 30 points per game for the series through 5 games, which brought us to a closeout game in Portland with the Bulls up 3-2 in the series. And Kobe had a great game, putting up 36 points, and that was enough for the win, as Kobe took home another ring, as the Bulls were in the middle of a dynasty. Next season, the only goal for Jordan and LeBron were putting a stop to Kobe and the Bulls' run, but it would be even harder with Jimmy Butler developing, starting to become another scoring threat for the Bulls. But it wasn't all Bulls this season, as Jordan would go off, putting up 34.6 points per game, taking home the MVP award. And in the Eastern Conference Finals, we got a Pacers-Bulls matchup, which we expected. And in the Western Conference Finals, we would get a Blazers-Warriors matchup, and Steph and the Warriors were on the rise, so this wasn't going to be an easy series for Jordan and the Blazers. But the Blazers were able to pull it out 4-2, going to the finals once again. And moving to the East, LeBron and the Pacers were not able to overcome the Bulls. And the Bulls, for I don't know how many times in a row, are headed back to the finals. LeBron is going to need to form a crazy super team soon, as his career has been very disappointing so far. And you know Jordan was the maddest dude on planet Earth, getting beat by Kobe in the finals all these times. And I think he finally took it personally, because because this series in the finals, he didn't have a game where he scored under 40 points, and him and Dame ended up doing what seemed like the impossible, taking down the Chicago Bulls. And the next season would be the same thing. The Pacers would meet in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Bulls, and the Pacers hoped they could finally knock out Kobe, who has dominated the East for almost a decade. In the West, the Blazers would beat the Thunder in the second round and go to play the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. And the Blazers were able to knock out the Warriors again, moving on to another finals appearance for Michael Jordan. But it's not going to be as easy soon, because the Warriors will be getting a whole lot better next season, which is going to make the Western Conference really interesting. Now back to the East, where LeBron finally had the edge on Kobe, as the Pacers were up 3-2 coming back to Indiana. And there's 38 seconds left. The Pacers are up 13 points. It looks like LeBron and the Pacers are finally going to be able to send Kobe and the Bulls home. Like, this is Kobe and the Bulls' first time not making the finals in so long. I actually can't even remember the last time they haven't made the finals. And this finals featured both teams that have been affected by Kobe and the Bulls a ton over the years. But LeBron was on a mission and determined to finally win a ring, as it's been 12 seasons and he still hasn't got one. And it showed as he went off all series, including a 55-point Game 5, and the Pacers eventually closed it out in Game 6, and LeBron and PG would win their first rings together. And this offseason was absolutely crazy, as Kevin Durant would leave the Thunder to join the Golden State Warriors, forming a scary super team out west. But that wasn't the only move made, as D Rose left Kobe and the Bulls to join the Knicks. Losing Rose was a big loss for the Bulls, but a good thing is Kobe could beat the super team allegations, saying he can't win a ring without another superstar on his team. Kobe looked as good as ever this season, putting up 27.8 points per game. And moving over to Jordan, where him and the Blazers knew that they would have to beat this Warriors super team in the Western Conference Finals this year to make the finals again. And it wasn't looking good, as the Blazers, every time they played them in the regular season, lost to the Warriors. Which would bring us to the playoffs, where Kobe would be matching up against his old teammate D Rose and the Knicks in the second round. And whoever would win this series would go on to play LeBron and the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And Kobe and D Rose would battle it out through the series, as nobody knew the real reason D Rose left. Nobody knew if there was bad blood between Kobe and Rose or not, but it sure seemed like it, as both of them were in absolute kill mode for the whole series. And this series ended in Game 6 as Kobe came into Madison Square Garden and had a 61-point game, making a statement to the rest of the league. Which brought us to the conference finals, where the Blazers would take on the Warriors and the Bulls would play the Pacers. And while the Western Conference Finals was a great series going all the way to Game 7, the Eastern Conference Finals wasn't as great, as the Bulls would get sent home in only 5 games. But like I said, the Western Conference Finals was a good series, and it would come down to the last minute in a 2-point game. LeBron and PG came into the finals looking to repeat, but the surrounding roster was not helping them at all. And this Warriors team was just overpowered, as they would beat the Pacers, winning the series 4-2. And over the offseason, PG and Bron were tired of their Pacers teammates and decided both to head to OKC to team up with Russ to make their own super team to challenge the Warriors out in the West. But the Blazers were the ones to match up with Golden State in the playoffs in the second round this year. And the Warriors, who looked like such a dominant team last year, did not look as dominant here, as the Blazers would win the series 4-1. In the East, the conference finals would be another battle between old teammates Kobe and D Rose. And in the West, it would be the Thunder versus the Blazers. And in the East, the Bulls won the series 4-1, and it would prove more and more that Kobe was the main reason for the rings that the Bulls dynasty have won in the past. And in the West, the series would not be a blowout, but the Thunder did have the opportunity to close it out, up 4 with 40 seconds left in Game 6. And the Blazers got a shot. And the Blazers, CJ McCollum going to the basket on LeBron. He's going to miss a layup. They needed a basket right there. They're going to start fouling. And it looks like that's going to be the game, and it looks like LeBron's going to be making another finals appearance. In the finals, Kobe would get a taste of his own medicine matching up against a really good team. Kobe and D Rose were running the league for a while together, but now since that duo is separated and LeBron has formed a super team, it was finally LeBron's turn. As LeBron and the Thunder would win the finals this season in only 5 games. And I guess Jimmy Butler was happy for him. I don't know, he's celebrating on stage with them. The 2018-2019 season would be the last season before these 3 go to join forces in LA. And with Kobe's team getting worse, I don't know if we would see Kobe Bryant make another finals. In the playoffs though, it was a bad draw for LeBron, as he would match up against the Warriors in the second round this time. But Bron was able to overcome the Warriors with help of teammate Paul George, who had 42 points in Game 6 to help close out the series alongside with LeBron's 31. Which led us to the Western Conference Finals, where the winner would be playing the Raptors in the finals, who just swept Kobe and the Bulls. And in the Western Conference Finals, the series would go 7, but this Game 7 wasn't as close. And in the finals, the Blazers looked amazing, and even with prime Kawhi Leonard defense, Jordan was still able to average over 30 points per game this series, and that would help the Blazers take home the finals in only 5 games. When Woj tweeted that MJ, Kobe, and Bron would be joining the Lakers this season, the league knew they were in trouble. Even though they were getting near the ends of their careers, these 3 were still superstars in the league, and there wasn't a team that looked like they could even come close to beating them. They went 75-7 over the regular season, and they would also fly through the West playoffs to match up with the Nets in the finals. And as you could guess, the Lakers won the series 4-0. Comment down below who you think is the GOAT after this simulation. And don't forget to join my Discord I just made. The link is going to be down below in the description.